Uh, Crazy-Rua here. This is one of my first official video, and so okay, New Zealand. Crazy-Rua here. This is when I talk about my first official video, and talk about these two. So okay, New Zealand. Okay, now if you can see on the side, this side or that side, vessels of light. So that's all the staff, or you can say all the approved readers, mature readers, that are also holistic spiritual healers as well, and many more other titles that they carry. And so we have about 12 mature readers that are in this group. They all come from many different walks of life. They have their own. A lot of these readers or healers work off the screen, so that's pretty cool. And so what they do, they bring their expertise and their gifts to the screen to try and reach out to all those in need. So yeah, it's a perfect group. We're not immature. We ain't awakened. We're past all that. We're just mature and just want to share and to give out as much. And so everything that we have in the group is all free services, but we do have our own individual pages that are paid. And so you'll know when you decide to join what we're about. It all began back in September, creating the group Crazy Gifts to Heal. As people were coming on, there was a lot of people just joining because they were in other groups and ended up becoming like ghost members. And then we had readers come on that were in there for money reasons and to also, have their own ego involvement. And so therefore, when it came to the 30th of November, I archived it and I renewed it, gave birth to a new one, and still remained with Crazy Gifts to Heal, but added Spiritual Hospice. And so Spiritual Hospice was like for readers to come in freely and use it like a respite. There's no barriers to freely share their gifts over, at whatever title they have, and they were accepted. See, now, just over, probably just through the New Year's, I decided to change it. It came to a moment discussing with a good core group in there, and just going through the teaming of it, and just all of a sudden my spiritual team came up and just kept on showing me vessels of light. Because I had named one of the approved reader groups as Vessels of the Light. And so this is how it came about, that it is the right mature, growth. It's to move from Crazy Gifts to Heal Spiritual Hospice, and walk with Vessels of Light for 2019. With the Vessels of Light also came with newer rules, crazier rules, and it was about making change in our normal routine as running a group, to be able to manage it properly and to find ideas and areas that would enlighten the members. And so we have three groups. So right from the beginning, we disagreed. We disagreed with having unapproved, and we went on doing changing it. So instead of having unapproved or practice or approved, we decided to do it. There's three teams, and it was Crazy Hospice team, approved readers. The next one was training team, become trainees to grow, to learn and develop as a reader online. And the last one was Fleet of Light, and those were the ones that also have that other abilities besides being a professional reader, but also as a healer as well. And in the ascension, and also past that. Um, so we had those 3 groups. And so those 3 groups have been doing quite fine. And there's only 12 of us. And so now the next direction for February is about doing a lot of things live. So if you do a post as a member and you ask for a general reading, one of the readers will record themselves, do a video, and reply that way. And because it's public request, we have to give it publicly back to your post because it says that you've been done. And so all this is, or we do a direct live to the group to give your reading, and then we tag you. And hopefully that you're there to come on. But otherwise, it'll be saved to the group. And then once you've given your feedback, there's no reason for it to be still on the group. So Crazy-Rua and the admin, we and the moderators, we delete it. Because once you've given feedback, you've seen it, you understand it, you've given feedback that confirms it, then no need to hang around. And that goes right across with all readings. So if there are individual readings being done on the group, or thread readings, or thread healings, and once it's been achieved, it gets removed off the post. And it just respects the individual and respects the members and respects us to ourselves. Because when we tune in and do our works, we're doing it for you and not for the multitude. So we're doing it for you, and then when we're finished, it's gone. The other part too about vessels of light, we want to break the chain of the norm spiritual groups that have been in here for a very long time. And a lot of our peoples are not really keen or not really sort of have a high understanding how to read properly, write properly. They know how to text, they know the professionalism of cell phones, all that jazz. And so there are a lot of things that got to be visual so it gets to all peoples and not be classed in upper class, middle class, lower class model. And that's why we're going that way, because we want to get to everyone, not to some. And so, you know, as you come into the Crazy Rules, they usually have their quotes. And so some of those quotes belong to me that I've been brought up with amongst my own villages, and created some on my path, on my walks. And so, and there's also some of my relations that are that have some quotes. So I always make sure when they're quoted who they belong to. And that's Vessels of Light. There's untolds of different opportunities in there, but all we ask in return is to be active. And if you are active and saying, putting emojis in there, or comment or post, then thumbs up. It doesn't mean that you have to post every time or comment. Just putting thumbs on the post is fair enough. It's really awesome. So we just hit 100 members. So we're basically 2 months old. And Crazy-Rua has been deleting because some members, and I've only probably done about a dozen, but it's only because looking at them, where their participation being active hasn't been active since last year. So, okay, obviously they have other priorities with other groups, so we remove. And the beautiful thing is that we are getting members that ain't on other groups. And as I always say to a lot of members, you get tired, you actually get tired and you start to forget which groups you're in. And so a group has to be left out. And so this is what we do. We just, hopefully we get, so when we check up for members, we actually do check up what groups they're in, how many groups they're in. And if they're in more than 3 spiritual groups, then we don't accept you, because it's about being prioritized. And having more than 3, even us, all of us readers, a lot of us are in 40 groups, and it sort of got beyond. So we've actually culled right down ourselves to concentrate on the one group, and probably have about 5 on the side so we can keep in touch with everybody else. So the readers in here, as I'm seeing now, it's Crazy-Rua seeing now, they're all coming, they're all linked back to New Zealand. We have okay, so you're the admin. We're known as Te Aka Matua team, and that's the main vine of the trunk. That's in Māori terms. And so you got Edwina White, who's known as Lady Edwina. and she lives on the east coast of Hicks Bay in New Zealand. And she's beautiful. She's really neat. She's down to earth. She's a ground level speaker, but it gives her at a height. And so when she does healing, she goes straight to the creator. Um, and she has her guides as well. So she's very clear of where she is. Very mature, very straight and direct, and she don't muck around. Um, she's a bit similar to Crazy-Rua. We don't live on little things. We don't worry about little things. We don't. We're past all that. Okay, we're past all that. It's pretty immature. So we basically treat you with respect as what we want the respect back. And so with the heights of gifts that Edrina has is something to discover. And you won't be disappointed. I know one part that's so easy for her is doing loved ones, bringing in loved ones to give messages. And so she's that kind of lady that does that. And she also has another one about, she's also a healer as well. She's a little more healer. But to us in New Zealand, in our Māori terms, we call ourselves, well, no, we don't call ourselves, but the people call us tohunga. And so the real word for, the full word for tohunga is tohunga mata kehu kehu. And so she's a kehu kehu. I'm a tohunga mataho and a tohunga kehu kehu as well. And so we sit in those areas of titles within New Zealand in our culture. Then I'm going to shift over to Brother Alfred. Beautiful, beautiful news, beautiful energies, and beautiful because he's rebirthed everything. So what he was last year is no longer here. What he was 2 weeks ago, it's all been put to rest. It's all been buried, sealed away, and he's a new guy. And he's a new rave merit. So full respect to that. A lot of people find, how do you rebirth? It's about dealing with your past, letting your past go for good, surrender to receive the good, and knowing negativity is only but a cup of tea. And so he's gone there. He's done his leaps and bounds, and he's matured. And so that's the maturity that's come out of him, and he's reborn. Reborn healer, reborn reader, and all those modalities that he deals with, we all deal with. And so, yeah, very honoured to have him on board with us. We swear that he's got a bit of Māori blood in us, but you know, culture can still be similar in bloodlines in a way because they all connect. So it must have missed 10 generations and then got to him. But that's Rev Merit. And so us 3 other admins, we're crazy daisies. We love laughing. We love having fun. We love milking each other in front of us. We just, that's us. We're safe and we're comfortable. The other part too, we do have a new moderator. She's so beautiful. Not even 5 minutes introducing and coming into our space all at once. So she just sat in our sitter room. She'd been there for years. And so thumbs up to that one. Made her a moderator so she don't get too busy. She's already busy, but eventually you can see she'll be admin with us and it'll just grow. She's a psychic medium and slash soon to be a healer because her team is going to roll that scroll out for her eventually because that's in our blood. That's a bloodline thing, being a healer, naturally. And so her name is Tidia Orso. Yep, I hope I said it right. Tidia, New Zealand born, but she lives in Australia. And yeah, it's just gone from we 3 craziest to us 4 craziest lights. And so that's sort of how we call each other because we do live. So we're going to go live with this kind of thing. So there'll be 3 of us in February, then 4 of us in February, and eventually probably drop the we 3 and stay with us 4, and hopefully have encouragement for other readers to add on so it becomes more. And it's beautiful if we all share live together, just like coming together, having a cup of tea and having a chat and all that, a laugh, then this group is working. This group is working at the levels of Wairuatanga, um, at the levels of spirit, of the universal libraries that it's meant to be, where all the scrolls get laid out and we follow it through. And, we all got contracts. We all got contracts, and we're following our contracts. May have taken us a few years, may have told us fallen down a few years, may have got us just about in our graves, all the trivials in our lives, but we've come through it all. We're still alive, we're still breathing, and we've all accepted our gifts and we all accepted our higher self. And so look how perfect is that. And we all understand a lot of plights and a lot of negativities that happen out there amongst families in their own homes and in the own workforce. And so we're not yesterday. We didn't just come into this sort of scene yesterday. We've been here for a very, very long time, and we're going to carry on. And so that's about the team. That's about the team. You've got some readers in here that are in the Crazy Hospice, and they're thumbs up because they have their own pages, their own groups, and I'm so honoured. We're so honoured that they jump on and do a live in our group and jump off, and that's really tops. And that's the Sam Selby, somewhere over there in Europe, and Gloria O'Neill in UK, and sometimes in Spain. She's lovely. They're both neat. They're just as crazy as us and busy, and they work off the screen too. So we're all quite busy workers here. We don't look at each other as light workers. We just look at each other as crazy gifts. And we like no titles. We just like our name. And so that's why we all get on. Then you've got Courtney from Houston. Lovely woman. Full of energy, full of gifts that yet still to come bursting out. She's on board with us. She's in the fleet of light. And so that's all the parts where she can feel safe, practice, and engage. And so it's wonderful to have her on board. She's crazy too, like us. Then you go to Tia Tokamo. She's on a biblical pathway, and so good for her that she's done that. And she's come up and stayed a few days with me, and it's been wonderful and honoured to have her in my presence, and still honoured to have her on board. And so she's the walk and talk lady for healing. And so she's known as the native healer within New Zealand. So, okay, in our language, we don't call it that, we call it tohunga. And so she's part of that walks. And so she's in the fleet of light. Then we go back to Crazy Hospice team, and that's back to Jiro Sadak, who lives in Bali. And his life is all around healing and their culture. And so he's a busy fella, busy man, a lot of respect. And he pops in now and then when he can. He's not an on-screen kind of healer. He's more of off-screen. But when he does come on, it's lovely to have his energies, his presence. It's really refreshing. And so it's good to have him. And then you've got, we're going to training team, the trainees, readers. Okay, so everyone in this group are approved. Crazy-Rua has no right to say you're unapproved, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Only upstairs in your spiritual team, in your walks, in your contracts, say you are. And so these teams are created. And so now this is Kimberlane. She's a beautiful dear, wonderful. She's got a big heart. She's also does healing off the screen, and the healing with her hands, and sometimes now when I say with her hands, we call it miri or miromi. And she also uses a lot of energy with the weather within her tips of her hands. So she's a wonderful person. First spoke to her and gave her some tools to use, and she used it. And so you have those kind of things with her hands, and that's what they're called. And so lightning, rain, blah, 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 when you have to get it through the body, that's her style. And it's good to have her on board. She's I do have a feeling that maybe in another month now she'll be crazier than us and jumping on and do a lot of active stuff with us. Then you've got this young fella all the way from Nigeria. Latif, awesome brother. He's learning. He does this thing out off the screen, but he's still learning the screen rules and the screen method of how things to go. And so him and April are in the training team under the mentor of Edwina White, Lady Edwina. And so that's doing fine. And so April is also in the training, but she's also in another group doing lives. And so that's really awesome. And she's wonderful. And you can see the learning and see the growth within and just in a few lives. And she loves doing lives. And that's just the timing, because New Zealand time is out of the whack. In America, New Zealand's 19 hours ahead. In UK, we're 12 hours ahead. In Australia, especially on the Perth side, we're 5 hours ahead. In Brisbane, we're 2 or 3 hours ahead. So yeah, so it's all the timelines, time frames that sort of don't get the members in as much as you can. But then sometimes when we hit it, oh, nice. So thumbs up to them as being the trainees. Then we've got Anne-Marie. She's walked with us since start, since I first created the first Crazy team. And she's come through a hell of a lot in those few months. And she's in the Wonderland. She's got a new job, beautiful life. It's all working out for her. And so she'll be back. She's just dealing with her new things. And Anne-Marie does palms. She reads palms. She's awesome, accurate. And so hopefully I got through the whole team. Yeah, I think I have. And so that's all talking about vessels of light. It's about us stepping up and stepping in to share. Okay, now from there we have our pages. Okay, so when we do paid readings, so you got Lady Edwina, she has paid readings. Brother Alfred, he does paid readings, and it's all to do with holistic healing and readings, all those levels, all those titles. That's us three. So in my group page, or in my business page and website, all that's donations, because my workshops now developing and creating with support from the Universal Libraries and the Keepers and my spiritual team. The first workshop is workshop 12. I was forever for a long time being given the letters 72, the number 72, and realized these things need to start coming out into this world. And so the workshop 12 is talking about anatomy ascension and anatomy gifts. Now, this is validated, very much important for those that are growing up, that are getting to the level to be an ascending master, getting to the level to be a shaman, in all those levels. And just the awakening, past the awakening and going into ascensions. Okay? And so these are just being aware. We have the soul, we have the mind, we have the spirit, but we also have our flesh and bone. And so we need to learn the reactions of our gifts so we understand ourselves more and know how to deal with self when we get into a glitch, and self-heal properly, and to understand the changes that are happening with us, and to understand the new gifts, why the new gifts are ready to come out. And so that's what it's all about, and more. And to understand the digits from 0 to 12, because the 0 to 12 has a lot to do with the whole anatomy. So in my culture, my spiritual culture, which is Māori, we have 72 colors that differs to Reiki. So Reiki has 7, 9, and then there's 12. But with us, there's 72. And that's a color for every organ, vessel, bloods. So there's not one blood in your body. From your hair to your eyebrows down. So that's all going to come out of there. And so in that workshop, it's only 1 hour per session. So there's 4 sessions. So in that first hour, I'm just put it out there. There's hour, but Crazy-Rua knows he'll go on probably to 2 hours. And so that's okay. That's okay with me. It's just had to put something in there to say how many. And so that it's legit with the workshop. The cost, yeah, it's $111, $111, and I think it's under USD, because over here in New Zealand the taxes are higher, and so therefore when those transitions happen. Yeah, no brainer. And so that Crazy-Rua is only looking between 3 and 5. If we're going to have 10, then I'm going to have 2 separate groups that I'll be doing live. I've now realized live is going to be under Zoom. So if you do apply and book in and pay, you need to download Zoom. And every session will be recorded and given to you. Okay. So it's your resource. At the end of the day, that's your resource. What Crazy-Rua will do, and probably with another brother's help, is edit it. Edit all the, just to get the bullet points, the main focus of that session for use. And also add information, written information, alongside that video for yourself. So further ado, I'm Crazy-Rua. Love and light. Good health to you all. You and yours. And kia ora. My first video promo